Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Dr. Mohammed Tanzidul and I am a graduate of Dar Medical College. I graduated in 2022. So I was approached by the organization to talk about public speaking. I'm sorry I could not have made it in person, but I really hope that you take something from this presentation. That being said, I need to make it clear that in 2 days, no one can make you a good orator, debater, public speaker, okay? It's a journey and you improvise with each session. You keep on doing it and that is how you develop the skill. So first thing first, perseverance is the key. So without further ado, let's get started with it. The first thing I would like to talk about is building rapport. Now, when you walk into the room, the classroom, on the stage, you need to be confident. You need to show it with yourself that you are confident. Talk about it in detail, what that means. But those 10, 20, 15, whatever minutes you have been allotted to present, to speak upon, is important to use them wisely. For example, you have to be like you own that place, right? So let's say you go on there and you say, my name is so-and-so and I am a volunteer at this organization and today we shall be talking about this, hepatitis or life cycle of malaria or whatever is your topic. Now that I'm stating this, but this is not just the only way to start. You can have your own technique. You can have your own strategy. When you enter there, you need to do something else, that is break the ice. Now, what do I mean by that? When you go to the stage, the audience will not be comfortable with you. They will not connect with you. And if they don't connect with you, they will not be able to understand what you're trying to say. So you need to understand your audience. We'll talk about that as well. But how you can break the ice? It's simple. You can just ask an impromptu question. Well, it's going to be a planned question, but it's supposed to feel impromptu. So you can say, oh, how is the session going so far? If you're in the center or the middle part, you can also say, what is it that you would like to learn next? Or you can start up with, we talk about hepatitis. So is there any particular thing you would like to talk about in hepatitis? Or you could say, what do you know about hepatitis? So that's about how you will start. So, or you can make a story even. Let's say there's a drug user that comes to you and you're suspecting a disease. So what diseases do you suspect? Okay. You can even say something like needle sharing. Like if a person comes to you in his history of sharing needles, using injections, what comes to your mind? Now your question should be age appropriate, okay? You can't ask about needle sharing, drug injections to middle school child, but you can definitely ask them in a high school child, especially in students who are studying biology, because they will know it from their curriculum. So go with a structured approach, okay? Think in your mind what you're going to do, and then ask questions. You can ask questions to brainstorm them. Like, for example, you could say, why do you think we transfuse blood before we screen blood before transfusion, okay, for that matter? So what is the deal with that? What comes to your mind? You have to engage them since when you have started your presentation. So I call it the caffeine shot because most of us take caffeine in some form, coffee, tea, their energy drinks to stimulate themselves. This is stimulating the audience that they need to start thinking. They would expect, oh, okay, I never thought about why do they screen the blood before transfusion. So I will get the answers if I listen to this presentation. You get what I'm saying? So that's it. But then I talked about structured approach and, building rapport and everything. It comes with practice. It's renowned that practice makes perfect, and no kidding, it actually does. So if you are well prepared, you will be doing well. It's very easy to understand. If you do well in an exam, that's probably because you prepared well for it. You did the past papers, and if you don't do them, you kind of screwed like that, aren't you? So rehearse well. Always practice in front of a mirror. Even to this day, I practice in front of a mirror. Okay, I'm not kidding, I do that. So when we talk about it, practice, there are multiple ways to go about. You can record a video of yourself, alright, and then listen to it. Okay, I'm recording a video of myself right now, so I can listen to what I'm doing, and I can delete it and do it again, right? so you can record how you're going about things. You can ask a friend to listen to you. You can ask a colleague to listen to you and then criticize you so that you can improve before your actual day. Okay, so I always practice before every day, each session, even after so many years, because it gives me the confidence, it gives me a structured approach that I am supposed to follow when I start. So it is always better that you start to practice. Okay. Now this is what we fear the most, the triggers. No one wants to talk about it, but we shall break the silence. What is keeping you from being a great presenter? Talk to yourself, evaluate yourself. And we will talk about the evaluation part in a bit. Everyone has some degree of stage fear as we speak, even if you're going there for the umpteenth time. I'll share an incident from my side. I was in my high school and I had to talk about the strange topic of love. 17-year-old, I walk on the stage in front of all the people there, the judges, the audience, and the first thing I say in the mic is, the stage is vibrating. And I was adamant on it. No, it's vibrating. So then there was some commotion, some glitch and laughter from the audience. A few of the administration, the organizing committee members, they came on the stage to check if there's a wiring issue or something like that. But everything was clear. In fact, it was I who was shivering. My legs were like all wriggly. So I was shivering with anxiety. So what they did not they did not find any of these problems in the wiring or whatever, they said I can continue now that everything's okay. So I started my speech and I was well prepared for the topic, so I just delivered it and talked about it. But I made very bad eye contact. I remember I couldn't look at the audience, and surprisingly I even won that contest. I knew what my fear was that day. I had done that presentation in front of my teacher, in front of the mirror. I have practiced it in front of my class even. So what caused me to panic at that point? The fear was the audience. So but that is not important to know. The stage fear from the audience is not important enough. You need to know why. So why was I worried? I was worried because what if something went wrong? I said something inappropriate. I forgot what I had to say. Now that I have learned it, I can say that fear is good. It drives you forward, keeps you active and composed. If you take it positively, obviously, you can work upon those things. What is keeping you away from it? And then you can finally become better and better. It's all okay to be afraid, guys, and just do your best. Just be well prepared and you'll be good to go. I need no debate on how to do best, right? You all know that. So you need to know what your trigger is. Is it the age group? Are you worried that you're supposed to teach a group of teenagers? They're going to be rowdy, they're going to shout at you, like it happens in a few classes. So are you worried about that? You need to know how to tackle that. Or are you not able to deliver that in Urdu completely? For example, there's an audience who might not understand English. So are you well prepared for it? Are you well prepared to tackle that trigger for you? And are you able to talk about a topic confidently that has been given to you? Now, for a volunteer position, you might have a certain limit of liberty to choose a topic. But I mentioned I work as a lecturer, so sometimes I give a topic I don't like to. So I need to put an extra effort to know about it, to anticipate the possible learning objectives to be covered, the things that I need to know before I enter the classroom or before that day. So before the actual day, you need to discuss with someone, talk to your seniors, talk to your mentors to be well prepared. You will have to work hard. It's not just gonna come into a plate and be given to you. If you want to polish a skill, you will have to take out time for it. You will have to make sure that you learn a few things to excel in that category. No one is born with it. Everyone has to dedicate time, work on it. Hard work always pay off. It wasn't on a whim or over a night that you entered a med school and you're studying here, right? It doesn't happen like that. So the next thing we talk about is the audience. So you cannot just learn about hepatitis from a textbook, okay? Or you can do that and just go to anyone and present them. Okay, that's not how it works. If you are given a topic, your audience is how you taper your presentation, is how you tackle and take it. So this is what we are going to talk about now. Ask the audience what they already know when you go. So how you can do it, you can start by an introduction and say, we shall discuss about malaria today. Before we begin, I would like to know that you guys, what do you guys know about it? Have you guys heard about malaria? This will save your time. You can be more specific. Do you know how it spreads? Trying to take input from the audience will make it interactive, number one. Number two, out of all of the other points, number two, it can also make you understand what the audience, what the crowd is thinking, so that you deliver what they want to hear, what they are supposed to learn, not what you know. Okay, you know a lot of things. You need to tell them what they do not know or what they wrongly know. If people think that any mosquito can cause malaria, or it's spread by bad air or something like that, you know, okay, there is a misconception I need to tackle during my presentation. You might not have prepared for it, but this is something you anticipate when you start, and that's how you progress. You can also determine how much exactly you are supposed to teach them, okay, by finding it out from them. So it will lay a big picture in front of you what you're supposed to do, okay. The other important thing regarding the audience that I need to mention is you need to know who they actually are. You cannot talk about life cycle of Plasmodium just because it's in the slides to someone who is an 8th grader or someone who is from computer science background, because they might not be interested in that particular topic. Why? Because to know how malaria is transmitted and its prevention, it is not exactly important to know this merozoites and hypnozoites. It will not just affect the way what you want, the message you want to give regarding the transmission and prevention. You can mention that Plasmodium is a germ that causes the disease and it lives in the mosquito, and the mosquito transmits that germ when it bites on the human skin, and it circulates in the blood and causes all the signs and symptoms that we talk about. So this is the summary that you can do. So you need to be relevant to your own audience, and this does not have to be relevant to your presentation skills. This ability to do it in simpler terms basically represents a skill of a doctor. So you are all future doctors, soon to be one. So an important aspect is that you are able to describe the manifestations, signs and symptoms, prognosis, management of every single disease and operation in the world to a patient of every background, with whatever language they know, whatever caliber they are of, how small or young they are. So you need to be able to teach them, and this is a good opportunity to polish that skill when even before you step into the big world. Okay, so you can give examples to engage the crowd. For example, you can say, okay, let's say, students, there is a malaria outbreak in the next few days. What do you think you can do? What role can you play? Now you can cover this question after your presentation as a summary to understand what they took from you, or you can give it as a brainstorming startup question, like a caffeine shot. What you can do, you can make a soft board in your school, in your classroom. You can do a short skit on it, deliver short message on the social media pages of your school, design a poster for it, or do a session for the domestic staff in their own language, Urdu, okay, because mostly the communication is in English. So this is how you can do them so that they can also be safe from the spread of this disease. So you need to think about what is going on in the circumstances of your audience to deliver appropriately. The audience cannot always be attentive to you. Okay, some of you might be talking right now, some of you might be looking at your phone, sending a snap streak, whatsoever. So and they cannot always be quiet as well. So if there is a noisy crowd or there is some commotion going on, how do you tackle it? Now, the way to go about is that you can say, if someone's not interested in your presentation, it could mean that you're not doing very well in what task you are assigned to, or the topic is not relevant for that particular group. So you need to bridge that gap. So how do you do it? You can do it by what I would like to do personally is I would like to make eye contact with the person who is causing the commotion, the disturbance in my flow. So I would like to make eye contact with them to make sure that I am looking at them, okay? And then ask them a question politely. All right, what's your name? Can you tell me what do you know about it? Because it could be that they may know something more than what you are teaching, or they might want to add something, so that is why they are discussing it with a friend or something of that sort. So you need to direct a question at them. This will also kind of make sure that you are looking at everyone and you want them to listen to you. Acknowledging that you value everyone in the classroom is important skill. So when you ask their input, even when they're talking, shows that you are acceptable of everyone. So even then, if somebody keeps on talking, the last resort is that you can ask them politely to leave the session because they're causing some disturbance. But this is the last resort, and yet so many of my years as you know, teaching and everything, I have not used it. Okay, so this was about the audience. Now let's talk about the verbal portion of the speech, which is not just the words, it's just much more than that. So when you speak, what language are you speaking in? So you need to know what language the audience will understand. It depends on the crowd. So if it's a bilingual thing which comes naturally, it's okay, you can go ahead with it. But if there's a crowd that completely understands English, like some of the batch groups in Dow these days, they're international students, so you need to know that you are not supposed to use the words of Urdu in that. And if there is a population that English does not understand English much of it, then you need to know the terms that you want to tell in Urdu. So you need to know what is called a hepatitis in Urdu, you need to know what is called injection in Urdu, what is called blood in Urdu, something basics as like that, blood transfusion and drug use, all of these things. So whatever your curriculum is, you have the slides, you have the knowledge. Now this partly because we're good at describing things in English is because we are taught in English and we are examined in English, so we prepare it like that. But again, this is a skill. You are taught and examined in English, but when you go out practicing in Pakistan, you need to be able to explain things in Urdu. All right, so you need, again, this is a platform to slightly modify that skill of yours. So you will have to do your homework before the session. So you need to be clear on what you will be talking about, what you will be teaching. Okay, then you need, when you enter, you were trying to introduce yourself, you need to know if the last rows can hear you, if the rows at the corner of the class can hear you. So ask just that, can you hear me at the back? Can you listen to what I'm saying? Am I audible? Let them know, be approachable. If there at any point my voice is not reachable, if you cannot hear me, just let me know so that you can also understand what I'm saying. Do not hesitate to let me know that you cannot hear me at the back. All right? And you can also check the audibility in midway also. While you are asking a question, you can say at last, oh, can you hear me what I'm saying? I'm audible enough. This will try to gauge their attention, number one. Number two, it will show your approachability, that you want everyone to hear you, not just the front rows, which usually happens in most of the classes and sessions. So, just ask keep asking them questions. Do not forget about the last rows, especially. Okay, that's what happens when I mention. So seek participation from everyone, and that is a very good skill of a presenter. Because what happens is the front rows start answering us, we look at them, we answer them, and we forget about the last rows. So potentially what happens throughout the session, the last rows do not listen to us either. They start talking amongst themselves, and then we have the term of backbenchers. Okay, so that backbenchers term that is coined partly depends on the presenter as well, how they take it. Are you getting what I'm saying now? Right? I think you all can relate to it. The third thing about the verbal aspect, apart from the audibility and the language, is the tone. So your tone of your sentence is going to determine how confident you are. If you are mumbling there in the mic, if you are not making good eye contact, the tone of your speech is not appropriate. So do not show any negative comments, expressions, even whatever feedback you get from the audience, okay? It might not be appropriate. So this will come with time. You cannot just expect any question from the audience and, just be startled at it or start laughing at something, some stupid joke hysterically. Sometimes it can happen, okay, in the start. But then eventually you develop that skill and you bring about it. Now, if someone keeps interrupting you, I'm mentioning that you need to maintain a good tone, be polite and confident, but someone keeps interrupting your presentation and keeps asking questions or making noises or stuff like that. So what do you think you should do? Do you ask him straight away what their problem is? Why are they doing it? Are they not comfortable enough sitting in the class? Or you just completely ignore them, that they don't exist, and you start teaching the other part of the class and complete your session within the time. Or, you can do something like a mixture of this, What do you think? Or you can, just ask them a question or something. So there's no right or wrong answer to this question. It depends on the circumstances, how much time the student has been misbehaving through the session, and how considerate and tolerable you are. So it always depends on that, right? So you need to know when to interrupt the audience and when to show that you are the person who is in charge, because you own that place for that time. So a good presenter always invites questions, okay? So this question should be holistic to the whole class, like I mentioned, all right? Seeking participation is a very good skill. It also shows that you are trying to take input from the audience and you're trying to give them back. So it shows that you want them to learn and not you to teach. So if you face any questions, because some people may be hesitant in it, that you do not know, because this can happen. So what would you do? Should you just try to say that you do not know? Or what else? Well, firstly, remain calm. Nothing has happened, okay? You are not a Wikipedia or an encyclopedia or a Google search that anybody could ask anything and you will just babble it out. No, that's not. You can anticipate a few questions before that, okay? I'm going a step backward before that question happened in the session. I'm going before your presentation. You can anticipate what questions can come. Now, for example, if you are supposed to talk about hepatitis B and you just learned that, okay, hepatitis B can transmit through blood, it can transmit it through sexual transmission, okay? You learned about those. But there's a question that comes to you, and you learn that it cannot transmit through saliva. All right, okay, perfect. You taught them. A question can come that why can the saliva, being a bodily fluid, not transmit hepatitis B, but blood can? Is saliva not a bodily fluid? So you need to know this question beforehand. And the way you do it is by thinking yourself in the audience, and that, going to the presentation as an audience. So you anticipate what I could ask if I am the audience, what critical questions I could ask. And you just Google the answers at that time and remember. Now this skill can come only with time, okay? It cannot just come on a whim just like that. So with time you will be able to develop that skill. So you can know the answer, but if still you do not know, you're not a robot, right? You can direct the question to a fellow team member if they are there. Okay, answer it to the best of their ability. Let them know that, okay, you're not sure on that, and you'll get back to it. You can do that as well. Our senior team member, if they know they have more experience in this volunteering, they might have taken that question someplace, in some other session, so they might be able to answer it. Or what you can do is, what I personally prefer is, I appreciate them that, okay, I appreciate that you guys are thinking that's a very good question from Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, and I really like it. So someone else, what do you guys think? Would you guys know the answer? Okay, I'm not aware of it currently, but we'll get back to it. Okay, and then you get back to them through whatever means you have at that point. So the next thing verbal is humor. If you ask me about putting in humor, I will say by all means go ahead with it, but you should imply by a few instructions or a few parameters when you are making jokes. Never make any jokes regarding religion, regarding politics, regarding any sensitive topics, okay, about a disease. You don't want to make a joke about it. So you know how people are in our country, they're very sensitive. So you cannot, if you cannot arrange a little jiggle in your class, that is completely fine, right? You might get the skill with time, but make sure it does not break the spine of your presentation. So you need to ensure you take your presentation within time. If you can avoid jokes, that is okay, but make sure you make always age appropriate jokes, no PG-18 jokes in a mid school, in a high school. All right, make sure of those things. Now we talk about the non-verbal cues. The research indicates that the non-verbal part of your presentation, of your speech, implies more on the audience. It gives more than the verbal aspect of your speech. Obviously, verbal is important. If you just stand there doing some non-verbal cues, it would not do the part. But if you combine both of them together, the non-verbal gives a better impact of your presentation. So let's talk about these, and what are these so important non-verbal cues. The first thing is your body language. So your body also has a language. We talked about the language from the verbal. Now the non-verbal cue has a body language. So you must have a welcoming approach. Do not be rigid. When you walk into that classroom, you need to be confident, but you need to be soft and approachable. So don't just stand on one place. Use the whole stage. Okay, don't stand behind the podium, deliver a lecture, and just leave. You don't want to be that one. If there is space between the audience, you can walk. Okay, this gives two things. You are using the stage, going through everyone, not intimidating by standing at one point or intimidating that particular person that, oh, he's just standing on my head. And the second thing is, it connects you to that audience because you are going to be going near them, they're going to see you, and you might seem more approachable. Okay, because if a teacher walks closer to you, you are more capable of asking a question rather than if you are sitting in the last row. It's just the human nature. So you need to use your whole body, and with that, the most important part we talk about is the eye contact. You need to make eye contact with every single person in the room. All right, mostly what happens is we make eye contact with the front rows because they are the ones who are responding usually. So we ignore the sides, we ignore the back. Do not do that. Even if the question has been asked from the person sitting in the first row, you need to answer that question to the whole audience. Repeat that question. Maybe everybody did not hear that. So if somebody in the first row asks a question to you, you can hear it, but can the person in the last row hear that? No. So repeat that question, appreciate that question, and then answer that question to everyone, not that person alone. This shows you are inclusive, you are caring, and that you understand everyone in the audience, and that you want to teach everyone in the audience. Okay, so this is important. The next thing are the gestures and expressions. So your face, if you're showing your face, if you're not covering it, it's important, and your hand gestures. So regarding the hand gestures, always use the palms like this. Okay, do not point out fingers, do not use any other fingers. Okay, do not make inappropriate gestures and expressions. You will learn with time how and what expressions to make, and how to make certain expressions despite of thinking certain things in the head. But with time you learn it. Go step by step. Do not video record yourself and then see what you're going to do. If you have a volunteer badge, it shows professionalism. Wear that badge with you. It shows commitment to that organization. It shows seriousness of your attitude to them. So this is how we talk about it. So lastly, let's talk about the attire. Most people do not think this is an important aspect of this speech, but I am telling you this is very much indeed. So it is important that you wear appropriate clothes. If there's a dress code from the organization, from the day, the dress color, follow that. It will show uniformity, it will show commitment to the organization again. If not, you can wear anything that is formal. By formal, I do not mean Western clothing. Okay, if you type formal clothing on the internet, you'll usually find Western until and unless you type formal Eastern clothing. Alright, so for Eastern clothing, you can wear those as well. Make sure it's ironed, it's scented, it's appropriate. You cannot wear flip-flops or slippers or sandals. Wear closed-end shoes. Wear collared t-shirts like this. Do not shirts like this. Do not wear t-shirt. Dress pants. Do not wear jeans or chinos or PJs or stuff like that. Don't go casually. Work on what you wear, because they'll be able to listen to you if you're dressed up nicely. Okay, wear a belt. So be your best self, and that's it. Just a small thing that you can do by giving a little touch to your dressing can have impact on how the audience perceives you. Make sure your hair is combed and have a haircut and everything. Okay, the next thing we talk about is the adaptability. Adaptability is a key quality of any public speaker. Now, we talked about so many things: building rapport, understanding the audience, being audible, taking questions and everything, triggers. There is an element of adaptability in each of the components that we have discussed. But discussing adaptability as a whole alone in a separate slide, the point is that you need to understand that how important the gravity of this particular quality is. For instance, there might be a time where the PowerPoint might not work, despite having a laptop, despite having everything. So what will you do in that situation? Do not panic, okay? Things are bound to happen. You as a presenter should know your content, should know the order and sequence of your slide, what will come up next. Okay, you need not press that arrow button and see, oh, what is this? Okay, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Go back. No, you need to know the content, the order of your slides well. This is important to be a good speaker. Okay, and then you can add in animations and all of that thing to make it more lively. That is fine. But if the PowerPoint is not working, what do you do now? So I heard that there are some posters available. You can use those posters. But how will you know what posters to use and when to use? So seek your organization members, look at those posters, see where you can incorporate, anticipate the danger of the PowerPoint not working. What will you do? It could be an electricity shut out, or there's a small laptop there, the projector is not working and you're just showing it on the laptop and the people in the last row cannot see. So you are the public's, you are their teacher at that point. You need to ensure how they learn. So you need to adapt. If there's a whiteboard available, a blackboard is available, use it. How will you use it? Maybe you're talking about malaria. You write down the word plasmodium on it. You write down the word blood transfusion. You write down the word of some other thing like fever. So you write down important skill words, because when you write down, it imprints in the minds of the students as well. So you need to monitor those things of how you can engage the audience. So you ask them questions, you write them down. You and ask someone, okay, what is it? The symptom. Can you go and write one symptom on the board? And this is how you can encourage participation from the audience as well. So the thing is, you can't just do a chat GPT or watch a YouTube video and be like, oh, that's good, I'm good at it, I can be a good public speaker. No, it develops with time and you learn something at each session. So you can draw diagrams if there are some available. For example, you want to show the flow chart, so you draw that flow chart of whatever the transmission cycle is, and that is a mosquito, it lays eggs and all of that thing. So how you break that cycle of malaria, so you do that. Okay, so the next thing we talk about is feedback. Now this is important for you to improve as your own, not at that particular session. So all we want is to become better and better and excel at what we are doing, and this can only come back if we know what we are doing and we are evaluated. So you become better with improvement, right? We said practice makes perfect. So practice before the session, practicing in the session, and with the sessions, your practice improves you. So take formal feedback from the participants, from the organization, okay? You can take it from your friends if they are there. They'll give you an informal kind of justified, truthful feedback. So you can make a Google form. You can circulate it. You don't have to print anything. It's online, soft copy. Anonymously, you can get the responses. You can read about those and work about it for those in your next presentation. And you can search on the web if there's someone wrote that you weren't audible, so how you can make sure that you're audible enough to the last rows. If there's some skills available, you can do a chat GPT here now. If someone told you that the multimedia wasn't fine, wasn't visible enough, you can learn how to make contrasting multimedia so that it's readable at the last rows in brighter rooms or whatever. So this is how you can work on your feedback. You can take feedback from your senior members who will tell you, oh, you did not, I prefer starting this presentation this way. I prefer to end it in this time, and I prefer to speak about this incident as well. This is the famous incident about the hepatitis that happened, about the HIV that happened. So, you will take feedback from senior instructors as well. Now, when I say feedback, when you take feedback from people who know about public speaking and people who don't know about public speaking, the feedback is going to be drastically different, because someone will tell you, oh, it wasn't just interesting enough. It could have been better. Now, how do you interpret it? But someone who has done public speaking will say to you, or who knows about how to do it or has experience in doing the sessions, he will say the stage use was inapt, or the hand gestures was not appropriate, there was no eye contact available, the audibility in the last show was not fine. So you will be specific to you. So it's important you take feedback from generic people as well and from non-generic people as well, because you need to bridge that gap within yourself. So I hope that this all makes sense. Thank you very much for listening to me and bearing with me. I hope that you took some of the points. I can't invite questions, unfortunately, but I am doing it. So if you have any, you can reach out to me on social media, and I'll be happy to assist you in whatever thing you need. If there's something relevant to public speaking, anything relevant to any disease, or anything in your personal or in your professional life, you can talk about it. No personal life. Okay, so good luck with volunteering. Keep it up. It's a good job, good initiative, and remember that you might screw it up in the first event. You might do it very badly. It's okay. I said the stage is vibrating. Can you imagine? In front of 300 people sitting out there, I said that. So you need to be confident, like you own that place, remember, and you'll be a great speaker, inshallah. So take care, and Allah Hafiz.